Hello, I'm Christina, and it's Sunday. I'm having to come in a little bit early because this afternoon is going to be extremely busy for me and my family. So I figured I'd come in just a couple of minutes early. And so for you, those of you who are going to be coming on or checking out the replay, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share out my videos. You have no idea how much that helps. And definitely leave your comments. Okay, so this week we actually had a lot going on prophetically, just going on all over the world. We're going to discuss that along with one of my visions that I had a few years back, at least, that just started, thing is starting to pop up. What I dreamed about all those years ago. Hello, Clarissa. It's good to see you, honey. Very, very good to see you. Right? We've got some thumbs up already. Appreciate that. All right. Y'all want to see? Let's start going over some things. All right. Okay. Now, whatever is going on in this world right now, it is part of prophecy. And there's going to come a time when you can't deny any longer that we are living in the last days and that it is the hand of God that is doing all of these things to fulfill his word and to bring us to repentance and to bring us back to him, right? Because the world is evil right now. It's in a lot of ways, that's all that they think about. And I remember asking God once, I was like, why do you send me to people sometimes that don't listen? And he actually answered me once. He said, I'm sending you to convict them one way or another. Okay. You can let that one way or the other, you're convicted, right? So you can't say, right? So he's got these signs out there. There's a whole bunch going on, the signs from God. And then there's all this darkness filling the world. And, we have to keep that in mind, right? People, instead of going to Jesus, they try to get their spiritual experiences other ways, in dangerous ways. And one of the ways that we are running into right now, it's been around for a while. It's called a drug called DMT. And it's alarming because they compare it to a near-death experience. But when you listen to the experiences they're having, you realize real quick that it's a demonic trap. It's an act of temptation. It's a lure, because your experience at times can be very euphoric, but I think that's to rope you in because they go into talking about this about, because it ruins lives. Your mind goes into a different reality. They say it's very scary and that there's a common ground among these people taking this drug, right? And it's the near-death experiences and what's going on. They hear voices. Some are nice, some are mean. Otherworldly entities that are very real to them. They keep seeing some elf or court-like gesture with slinky arms that's mocking them, sarcastic. That's all demonic. Okay. And then it shows signs in real life when you come back down from your trip. Some of the things that you were shown or that you saw, you see it in real life afterwards. So that it's like they're like, no, this is real. But they keep talking about it's a spiritual experience, but there is no mention of Jesus Christ. But it just goes to show you how much people want, they crave something that they don't realize they need is Jesus. So it's like they're trying to reach out any way they can find it, even if that means taking a drug that will almost kill them. And it does kill them at times. Let's go ahead and check out the chat real quick. Hello, Susie, Patricia, JB, David, Star System, John, John, Brian, Pyrotechnic, Lip Service. All right. I'm so glad everybody is here. So glad to see you, Pyrotechnic. Snakes and aliens are real. Yes, I think aliens are just demons, fallen angels type thing. I think that's what they are, is fallen angels. I don't think they're actually aliens unless I don't know. They're not typically from Earth. I mean, but they've been here for, I guess. But yeah, aliens to me are just the demonic side of life. Okay. Yeah, last days is what all the big rabbis are saying. Okay. And what's funny about that is a lot of them don't believe in that Jesus has been here yet, but the last days is about Jesus's second coming, not his first, right? Okay, so people, they're looking for these spiritual experiences and, going ways of Harry Potter and things like that. But when you think about why the world is being wrung out like a wet rag, it's because people will do anything. They're lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Okay. They'll do anything but seek Jesus Christ. And so for these things and more, much, much more, we could list them, but we don't. You guys generally know what I'm talking about as far as the sin that's in this earth. It's on the news every single day. All right. For instance, we had 40 hospitalized in Florida for bleeding so bad they were smoking that spice. They were bleeding so bad that it might take their lives. They were trying to save their lives. They could not stop bleeding and you can't ever know what's in spice because they are always using different chemicals. Okay. And you see, people, it goes so much further, but you start seeing the consequences of our sin in the way that God is judging our planet, and we are in the last days, right? By way of things like the tornadoes that came through Nebraska, and there were power outages. And we had talked about this on my channel a few months ago. I said, I have a bad feeling about power outages for whatever reason. Y'all have to have these solar batteries and some solar panels. It really helps. And I also recommend getting some solar light bulbs because I'm really looking at that. At least have a survival plan. But to add to the misery, the silos, the farm equipment, the cattle, chicken, destroyed. Okay, so that cuts more into our survivability, and really etches more to the fact that we have to be more self-sufficient. Okay, more evidence of the last days. We had Indonesia quakes that were this one quake, they couldn't figure out if it was a 7.8 or a 7.3, but it was probably a 7.8. And this one guy even reported a 65-foot rise in the ocean on a buoy about that same time. We're having all of these issues where we can have all these power outages and much more happen to us. And California decides to ban gas generators. Right now, banning generators just doesn't seem like a very good idea, but that's what they've done. They have done that. And Amazon has widespread cyber issues across America. That was this week. They did. The same week, super typhoon hit the Philippines with 200 kilometers per hour winds. That's faster than miles per hour. There were storms across the U.S. this week, including a record snowfall in California. We had some amazing winds hit us here yesterday, and the rain came in. Luckily, there was no hail, but the temperature did change. It's kind of pretty out there today, but definitely cool. A giant sandstorm in Colorado at the same time. Huge crack in the ground that recently formed in Lima, Peru. And then, interestingly, there was a little earthquake swarm in the Gulf of California. And that was just 1 week behind the swarm off the Oregon coast that we had last week. So you can see that whole west side of the United States is really, really having some issues, right? But during that, Texas started having some interesting earthquakes in, around North Texas, east of San Antonio, big one in Kansas. See, when the pressure's up on the West Coast, it spreads throughout the nation. It does. You might notice the Madrid acting up at the same time, which I'm pretty sure people did last week at that same time. Let's go ahead and check the comments. I tested out the Tea Light Garden Pot space heater. Don't do it unless your candle has its own chimney going outside. Hello, everyone. Hey, Fiddlesticks. I'm glad you made it. Rampant sexual sin, creation of hybrids, abortion, pharmakia. I think you said it all, Clarissa. False prophets, dreams, and visions sometimes, and we got a lot of them that are absolutely real, but you know in time if they're real because they come true. They do or they don't. You can tell a tree by its fruit. Okay, and okay, yeah. So what I listen to Mike from around the world every so often, and he was warning this week that he is expecting major water events to begin happening in 2022. And the things he was talking about that are going to be high key, he was saying that he's acting like he's expecting it in just a couple of months, you know? And there's so much. They're even talking about things that could possibly happen with Russia in the next month or two. January keeps coming up, right? I don't know if y'all have heard anything about that. Hello, White Horse. Good to see you. And okay. All right. So if we get these water events, that means the coastlines are going to be hitting. I remember doing videos a few years back saying, you might want to get off the coastlines, seriously. And now, I remember back then people were kind of acting like I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm like, trust me, you need to start finding your ways off these coastlines. And sure enough, these water events haven't just been talked about as possible. Lately, they've been just more talked about as they're eventually going to happen. And now it's like, no, they're getting ready to happen. There's a squeeze. There's a certain point that you can just squeeze the earth so much and things are going to start crumbling. The big stuff is going to eventually start happening. And we're even having the meteors and asteroids getting closer and closer to the showers. Some of them are seasonal, but some of them are just happening now. The debris coming in. Now, along with all of this, we've got epic economists reporting that Chinese lockdown mandates have been put in place again, causing supply shortage panic. In certain areas of China, they are having to reduce petrol producing output that will strain the market even further, as well as cause prices to rise more because it's going to cost more to ship. It's going to cost more to buy that gasoline. So everything is going to go up. And even in my neighborhood, rent just went up. It just went up. We pay weekly, so it's going to be an extra $25 a week here. And there was a little note that was sent out in the neighborhood said, yeah, you can thank Biden for this, honestly. All right. So it's affecting everyone. Everyone. There's nobody that's not being touched by these shortages and these supply issues and the natural disasters that are just wiping out entire towns overnight. All right. But on top of everything, I remember saying a long time ago, I said, I always wondered what it would be that would upset Putin so much that he would invade our land. And now we know that Putin is preparing for war. We know that he's drawn the red line. And since we've kind of heard this ever so often, these little tips about Russia, like we come awfully close to just pushing their red buttons. But this time, for me, I feel like I need to take a little bit closer look for a while on this situation because of the vision that I'd had. And I'd actually called it the doom on the horizon dream. And I know I'd done a video way back, but I was like, I had really bad amnesia still at the time. And the way that I'd been treated at that time was just so mean that I just deleted the video. But it's a shame because it's doom over the horizon. And in the dream, I was standing on this flat plane, and it's like the whole scene was kind of orangey. And I was in this line of people that was going on and on and on as far as I could see, and I could see the horizon in front of me, and people were still going beyond that and beyond what I could see over the horizon. And then there was people behind me as far as the eye could see. And in the air, there was just this doom, like imminent doom. Okay. Like everybody in this line was about to die. And I started trying to warn everybody and they wouldn't listen. They couldn't hear me. They looked like they were in a trance. And I started trying to pull them away and they just kind of would fall back in line. And then I was like, gosh, doesn't look like anything is happening. And I started feeling kind of stupid. And I saw this picnic table, which I happen to own now. At the time, I didn't own it. But there was like I wanted to get to it to take a break. And that still I was one of the things in the dream that felt important. Take a break, the need to take a break. And horizon, and doom. Those three things always stuck out for me. And these little black tars, like on the ground, like I just had to maneuver a little bit to get to this. But the second I sat down and took a breath, this huge explosion hit, and everybody died in this dream. And that was the end of the dream. So I always knew that it had something to do with Russia, because later I even made a video that is still there. It didn't say the dream is called, is war with Russia on the horizon. It was kind of like a little alluding to that other video I originally had up. So now they've got this over the horizon jamming tool for US missile radar, meaning if they're wanting to nuke our country, they can jam the United States radar systems with this over the horizon machine. They can jam our radar so that we don't know until it's too late that these missiles are coming. And they come pretty quick now, meaning we'll have no time, just like in my other visions, to evacuate. It's like the second you know they're there, you've got 10 seconds, or something. It's like you have no time. By the time you realize it's happening, it's already too late. And especially in the cities, it's too crammed. It's just too crammed. And I've seen these. And so seeing this machine, I know that we're getting closer now to Red Dawn. Okay. Is it going to happen? In my dream, it was imminent. But when I thought it wasn't going to happen, or I guess I was just tired of hearing about it or felt stupid, that's when it happened. When you didn't think it was going to happen, that's when it happened in my dream. So I feel like this is just a time for us to be at least wary, not to panic, but to think, really about your plans, where you're at, where you want to be. Do you have what you need? I'm telling you, the solar battery has just really been saving me. Do you have your ham radios? Do you have your contacts, to use those hand radios, to get information? Okay, I'm just looking at some of these comments. Okay. Yes. That over the horizon machine, that will be used. That's part of what's going to happen when they invade. That will be used. And there's just doom all over it. That machine is going to be very effective. It's going to be so effective. So a lot of the military isn't going to be alerted in time, and maybe even shut out of their own bases before they can get up and ready to go. Okay. So we're going to have to be watching for certain signs, like maybe certain planes in the skies, or, people in the hand, just cars maybe stopping on the road, especially that. I look for that a lot. All right. Just be looking out for those signs. Okay. So you get the feeling that more and more the clock is ticking. The earth is reeling, it's rocking, it's shaking, and we got things falling out the sky, and this happening faster and faster. And all of these things in the Bible, the way God explained it, was to try to get our attention back on him, so that we know that he is God. He is in control, and that everybody needs to pay attention, to take notice of these things and understand this is the clock ticking. Even these are signs that are going to convict you one way or another, because one day you're not going to be able to deny that this is prophecy unfolding. All right. No fun without my easy hot shower. Ooh, I'm sorry, your water pump ran out. Okay. All right. I think that is all we have to talk about for today, at least for now. But yeah, that looks like it. Just get as prepared as you can, because what they're trying to say for 2022 does not sound good. And that is less than 2 weeks away. Next week or the week after, depending on the calendar, I'm going to be taking a highlight of, like, doing highlights of 2021. And you'll see, wow, just how much is really going on prophetically and in your face. Because when it happens, there's just so much you forget, right? But when you get reminded, like, wow, that was a lot. And we'll be doing that soon. All right. I love you guys, and God bless you. Be safe. And I will talk to all of you soon. Bye.